All right, today we are going to make a fraction multiplier. So we can call this a fraction multiplier. I think that's how you spell multiplier. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is we are just going to put when green flag clicked. Okay, that just means that when the program starts, this is the code that's going to run. Now we are going to put a forever loop, and this just means we're going to put all of our code within the forever loop, so it just means that the program will keep running once it goes through, and it will just repeat over and over again. Okay, so now we're going to start building the calculator. And what we are going to do is we are going to put 4 of these, ask what your name is, or what's your name, and wait. And then we're actually going to go in and we're going to make a few variables, okay? Because we are going to ask what our fractions are, or what the fractions are, and then we're going to set them to the variables. So the variable just basically the variables will hold the value of what is given to us. So we're going to put the variables as numerator 1, okay, make a variable denominator 1, and then we're going to do numerator 2, denominator 2, and then we can actually put numerator answer, and then denominator answer. And it's always best to make these variables something useful, so you'll know what the variable is, right? So numerator 1 is the numerator for the first fraction. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put these in. So we are going to be alternating between asking a question and then we're going to be setting a variable. And what we're going to do here is we are going to change this 0 to the answer. So basically we're going to ask a question and then we're going to set the variable to whatever they put as the answer. And the questions we are going to ask are not what's your name, it is going to be what is the numerator of the first fraction. Okay, and I'm just going to copy this so I don't have to type it over again, and I'm going to make sure that I switch to numerator 1. So I'm going to set numerator 1 to whatever they tell me. Then I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to put, instead of numerator, denominator, and then set denominator 1, already here, to answer. Then I'm going to do this, and what is the numerator of the second fraction? Okay, and then I'm going to put numerator 2 as the variable, and then I'm going to put what is the denominator of the second fraction, and I'm going to put that as denominator 2. So now, if I run this, now I do also want to point out that these check marks just will display these variables on screen if they're checked, and if they're unchecked, they won't display. We're going to keep them checked because I do want to display them. So now we're going to actually, now we have the values of the numerator and denominator for both fractions that we're multiplying. Now we actually have to do the math. What we're going to do is we are going to put two of these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put set numerator, or not numerator 1, numerator answer, and then I'm going to put set denominator answer down here, and we're going to actually calculate. Now this is the multiplication block, so I'm going to put the multiplication block at the 0, and then I'm going to go back to variables, and I'm going to put, now watch out for this, you want to make sure that this numerator 1 that you drag from here does not replace this whole block. See, if I just do this now, it's going to replace the whole block. You want to move it and drag it so that it's only replacing the first one of the multiplication thing, and then we're going to multiply it by the second numerator, right? That's how you multiply fractions, is you multiply the numerators together, then you multiply the denominators together. So numerator 1 times numerator 2, and that's going, we're going to set the numerator answer to that. Then denominator answer is going to be denominator 1 times denominator 2. Okay, and now we have what we're going to do is we are going to put two of these blocks here, and what we're going to do here is, see, right now it just says say hello for 2 seconds. Now what we can do is, instead of say hello, I'm going to put a join apple and banana here, and then I'm going to take a join apple and banana, and I'm going to put that in the banana, and then I think I'm going to do one more time for banana. So what this is doing, it's giving me the opportunity to say a couple of different things. So I'm going to say something along the lines of the answer is, and then I'm going to put a space here, and then I'm going to go to the variables, and I'm going to put numerator answer for the first apple, and then for the second apple, I'm going to put a space, and then I'm going to put over, and then another space, and then I'm going to put, for the last banana, denominator answer, and I'm going to change this to 5 seconds. So it should say, the cat should say the answer is whatever the numerator is for the answer over whatever the denominator is. Now I made sure to put those spaces in, otherwise they will not have spaces, and you'll kind of see why. Then I'm going to put this calculator does not reduce the fraction for us. So I'm going to put, please remember to reduce your fractions, exclamation point, and I'm going to put that for 5 seconds. Now, this is almost done, but the problem is it doesn't actually clear these variables. So what I am going to do is, at the end, I'm going to put 6 of these sets here, set blank to 0, or set a denominator 1 to 0. I'm going to put 6 because that's how many variables we have, and I'm just going to go through and just make sure we set all of the variables. So we have denominator 1, denominator 2, denominator answer, and then my variable, we didn't use that, numerator 1, numerator 2, and then numerator answer. So now I have all of them set to 0. Okay, so now we should be able to run this. So what is the numerator of your first fraction? I'm going to put 2. What is the denominator? 3. So it's 2/3. What is the numerator of your second fraction? 4/5. The answer is 8/15. Okay? Please remember to reduce your fractions. Now it should reset to 0 here, and then start all over again in the forever loop, and it will continue to do that. Now what we can do here, here's a little trick that we can do, is we can set these kind of over here. We can set this over here. I'm not, okay. I guess you can click, and if you want the large readout, this actually works pretty well. And then what we can do is we can do this, and we can actually go into the backdrops here. Now all of the coding is done, but if I click on backdrops and then I click on backdrops here, what I can do is I can take a line and I can actually draw a line here, and then a line here, and actually make these into fractions, right? Now what I could do is do something like this, where now you can kind of play with this a bit. So we can put the two fractions like that, and then we can put a multiplication sign between them, and then we can put an equal sign, and then we can put another line like this. Now I can just move these, okay, large readout. So now, I'm going to move the cat. So now we can click back on sprite 1, go back to the code. Now we can run this, and let's see. The numerator of the first fraction, 5, enter. The denominator of the first fraction, 7, enter. The numerator of the second fraction, 9, enter. The denominator of the second fraction, 15, enter. The answer is 45/105. Please remember to reduce your fractions. and sets it back to 0. So this is a fraction multiplier. Right? It's like a calculator. It does not reduce the fractions. You're going to have to do that yourself. But it does give you, it does multiply the two fractions. So hopefully that is helpful. If you need to pause, look at the code, see if you have done everything correctly. Just make sure that you set the right variables to the right answers. Make sure that you set all of these to 0, and yeah, it should work out pretty well.